Okay, so uh, welcome to lecture number 17 and good afternoon to all. So in this lecture, we will be studying shape features. In the earlier lecture, we talked about the various texture features and the color features. Now, the third feature, which is used most importantly, is the shape feature. Okay, so in this talk, we'll talk about why shape features are important, then what are the characteristics of shape features, and then uh, okay, what are the characteristics of good shape features, and so on, and then what are the different types of to extract the shape features, which are based on the counter, which are based on the region, and then this one region identification and then area and so on. So we'll see all those classification of shape feature extraction techniques and also other recent state-of-art shape feature extraction techniques. Also, I'll just introduce you all those things, and then at the end we'll see the first shape feature technique, that is region-based technique or region identification. So that is what we are going to study in today's lecture. So you know that why shape feature is important. I have given you one of the example that in the newspaper you might have seen that the cartoons are generally drawn. See, on the first page of the newspaper there is a cartoon, and these cartoons are generally drawn with the help of shape or edges and so on. Though we know that there are three basic features. One is textural feature, which is generally available at many places in the real world. Then another one is color features, and then third one is the shape feature. So among color, texture, and shape is most important feature. So we'll be more focusing on this part. Shortly, we have covered this color features and texture features, but we'll give more importance to this shape feature because this one we generally, as a human being, we also recognize the objects based on the shape rather than simply color or this one texture and so on, right? So shape is very important feature. So that's why we'll give more time to study these different types of shape features and so on. You know that shape is an object property which has been carefully investigated and much may be found dealing with the numerous application. So take the example of your OCR, optical character recognition, or ECG, electrocardiogram analysis, or electroencephalogram EEG analysis, or cell classification, or chromosome recognition, or automatic inspection in the industry, or technical diagnostic. Or you would take any example of your vision system or pattern recognition or machine learning and so on. Everywhere this shape is one of the important feature, and you can solve so many problems with the help of shape features. A lot of research has been carried out. Still, we could not find the very optimum and the very accurate shape recognition system, because see that in the real world you will find very irregular shapes, and it is really difficult to mathematically model those irregular shapes and so on. So we need to basically develop the techniques which will basically give you the correct shape analysis. You know that in content-based image retrieval also, there are the features like as the textural features are there, shape, color features are there, and shape features are there. Several researchers have proposed a system, or there are retrieval systems which are available based on the color, which are available on the texture. They are successful in that, but when it comes to the shape, it does not give the acceptable level of result or accuracy and so on. So a lot of research is to be done in this area, so that we'll get the accurate model for describing the shape and so on. So despite the variety of differences among many approaches, which are limited mostly to the terminology. Now see that in what way basically the shape models or shape methods are developed and so on. So one of the characterization of shape representation method is, you see that input representation, like object description can be based on the boundaries. Like for example, we can describe the shape based on the boundary. Like for example, this one perimeter of that shape, we can have a unique feature based on the perimeter, or based on the chain code, or based on the now this one Euler number, and so on. So there are several, we will see that one. So counter based, some of the techniques are based on the counter based, some of the techniques are considering the whole region. Like for example, region based, suppose for example, if you consider this shape is there, so how much area is covered by this object, so we can find how many pixels are there, and if you know the resolution, we can calculate the area of this one. So this is nothing but the region based approach, or elongatedness, compactness. So all those are basically region based approaches which we are going to study. So what I mean to say here, that shape-based representation can be contour-based, or it can be just by considering the external boundary methods which are developed. Those are boundary this contour-based method. Or if you are considering the entire image or whole region, and then you are representing that whole region in some of the properties, like for example, finding the area of that region, or compactness of that region, or eccentricity of that region, or rectangularity of that region. So these are basically region-based approaches. So we will study all those approaches in details. Means shape representation can be counter-based, or shape representation can be region-based, and so on. Then another characterization of the this object is what is the object reconstruction ability of that method. Means, see that, so for example, if I have represented that shape with some certain this one, like for example, if I represent the shape with only perimeter, like, so if I calculate, if I find the perimeter, now I know the perimeter, suppose for example 25 centimeter perimeter is there, but can I, from this value, numerical value, can I reconstruct the object perimeter? It's not possible, right? It is not possible to reconstruct that one. But see that when you are extracting the feature, so this is analysis part kind of thing one, and then from those feature, can we reconstruct the object back? So that is nothing but the synthesis part. So if your method is able to do the extract the features, and also if that method is such that from those features we can reconstruct the object back, then that method will be really good method, right? So if your method for shape representation is having the ability to reconstruct that object back from the shape, that method is considered as a good method. So that is whether an object shape can or cannot be reconstructed from the description. So some of the methods are there by which we can extract the shape features, but from those features it is not possible to reconstruct that object back. But some of the techniques are there, we can extract the features but from those features we can reconstruct that shape back. So this method will be better as compared to this method, right? So many varieties of shape preserving methods exist which differ in the degree of precision with respect to the object reconstruction. Means, see that characterization is based on the input representation, whether in what way you are representing that shape, whether it is based on the contour or whether it is based on the region. Second thing is that whether your shape representation method is having an ability to reconstruct from the features. So some of the methods have that ability, some of the method does not have that ability. Then third thing of characterization of the shape is, can you extract the shape information from incomplete? Like for example, I have the occluded object like this. This object is behind this object. So can I reconstruct the shape of this occluded object? So because we have partial information available here, so only this much information is available, this much information available, whereas this portion of this object is occluded. So can your method reconstruct that object, okay, occluded part and so on. So if incomplete information is available, and if you can develop the method which will really take care of that one, so that would be a really good method. So incomplete shape recognition, like for example, that is to what extent a shape can be recognized from a description if objects are occluded and only partial shape information is available. If partial shape information available, then can you reconstruct that object? Okay, whether that method is having the ability to reconstruct the object from the partial information or not. So this is the third characterization of the shape representation method. The fourth one is that whether your approach is basically a global approach or local approach. Okay, so sometimes you see, yesterday we have talked about this one texture analysis. There are also methods like as a local approach and a global approach. Local approach means instead of considering the entire image, you are considering the part of the image. You are doing the analysis or extracting the feature from that part. Again, you are shifting to the other part, and then you are extracting. So like that way, complete image is covered, and then you are extracting the feature. So that is nothing but the global local approach. Whereas in a global approach, what you are doing at a time, you are considering the entire image, and then you are transforming that one to, okay, you are representing that image in another domain, and then you are extracting that features from that domain. So that is called as a global approach. So in shape recognition also, whether your method is local, characterizing the shape in local way, or it is characterizing the shape in global way. So global descriptors can only be used if complete object data are available for the analysis. See that when you can use global method descriptors, when you have complete object data available for analysis, at that time you can use the global description. But suppose, for example, if local means basically some part of that data or some part of shape is not available, or complete data is not available, in that case global method may fail or may not give the correct result. So in that case you can use the local method. So local descriptor describe local object properties using the partial information. Means if you have the partial information available about the object, then in that case you can use the local method, and if you have the complete information available, then you can use the global method. So thus local descriptors can be used for description of the occluded objects. Means for if the object is occluded, so in this case for description of the shape of this object, you can use the global method, you can use the local method. So some portion of that one extract the feature, some portion of this one extract the feature again here, and so on. So like that way, and then you can predict the okay, if this is like this one, then you can predict what will be the central portion which is occluded by this object, and so on. So generally local methods are used for description of the object if some portion of that shape is occluded by other object, and so on. Whereas global descriptors are used when a complete shape is available or complete object is available, no occlusion. So in that case, global approach can be used. Then fifth characterization is whether your technique is a mathematical or heuristic technique. Means, okay, your technique can be, okay, by using mathematical equation. Like for example, you know, the circular this one object can be represented by circle equation, or rectangular can be explained, and so on. Or there are some of the techniques which are really cannot be explained with the simple mathematics, but it can be explained or it can be characterized by using heuristic technique. So for example, a mathematical technique is a description based on the Fourier transform. Like for example, you have the coordinates of those points, or basically pixels of that each pixels, and then from those coordinates of each pixel you can take the Fourier descriptor, or basically you have the Fourier descriptor, or you can take the Fourier transform of those coordinates, and you can reconstruct this one, the object, and so on. So this can be represented mathematically basically. So the techniques which are used to represent shape mathematically, like for example, Fourier description or Fourier transform is used. Okay, so that is nothing but the mathematical technique. Whereas a heuristic technique method may be elongatedness, how much elongatedness is there, or compactness is there, or like that way. So heuristic techniques are also available, and mathematical techniques are also available. Global techniques are available, local techniques are available. Okay, object reconstruction ability techniques are available. Not reconstruction technique are available. Okay, complete shape information is available. Partial, okay, even you can reconstruct the object, or you can find the shape of the object when partial information is available. Some of the techniques are based on the contour, some of the techniques are based on the region. So in this way, these shape representation techniques are there. Also, some of the techniques are like, for example, they are very robust for translation. Means even if object is shifted from one place to another place, you can extract the shape property. So that is translation invariant. So shape property at this location of this object is same as shape property of this, because this is translated. Even same thing happens that, okay, object is like this, and then you are extracting the shape property. If object is rotated, then shape property will be like this. Okay, if object is rotated like this, in any direction, so your shape property will remain same, that is object rotation invariant. Then also another thing is the scale invariance, means whether that object is small or it is large, but if it is of same category, your shape property should be same, or like that. So your shape methods may be robust for translation, rotation, and scale invariance. Then that technique is supposed to be a good technique for shape representation. So what are the characteristic of best shape features? So best shape features are like, for example, your okay, technique should be have the property of identifiability. Okay, means shape which are found perceptually similar by human have the same feature that are different from the others. So the way we human being are recognizing the object based on the shape, same way your computer vision methods should be also there. We need to develop computer vision methods which are just like as a human human vision system, and so on. Then second thing is that your technique should be translation, rotation, and scale invariance to achieve the good shape recognition or shape representation method, and so on. So the location and the rotation and the scaling changing of the shape must not affect the extracted features, whether that object is rotated in this angle or this angle, your shape feature should be same. Or if that object is scaled, your shape feature should be same. Or if that object is translated, your shape feature should not be changed. So even if there is change in translation, rotation, or scale, shape feature should not change. So that is considered as a best features of shape. Third thing is that when we can consider that shape features are best, if shape features are having the property of affine invariance. Okay, affine invariance means what? So means, suppose for example, if you are mapping from one coordinate system, see object, if you have object and then you are mapping this object from one coordinate system to the another coordinate system, and then you are extracting the features, then your features should not be changed. Like for example, whether features in this coordinate, like as a rectangular coordinate or polar coordinate, whatever may be the coordinate system, whatever you are using, the shape feature in polar coordinate or shape feature in rectangular coordinate, whatever you are extracting, those should not be changed. So it should have the affine invariance properties, even if the object is basically transformed into or mapped to another coordinate system, and so on. So the affine transform performs a linear mapping from coordinates system to other coordinate system that preserves the straightness and parallelism. Means there should be linear transformation basically in your shape features also when you change the coordinate system. So affine transforms can be constructed using the sequence of translation, scales and flips, rotation and shears, and so on. So the extracted features must be invariant as possible as with the affine transform. Means whether you have transformed that one, affine transform that shape, but your feature should not change with that one. So if those, okay, if your technique performs in this way, really it is a good technique for shape representation and so on. And then fourth requirement of best shape feature is that it should be noise basically resistance. You know that your shape is nothing but edges are there, so edges, you're detecting the edges of that border edges and so on. And you know that edge is also a high special frequency and noise is also a high special frequency. So your method should not detect noisy point as a edge pixel or something like that. So noise should be completely removed and only shape should be preserved by your method. Then that method is considered as a good method. Means features must be as robust as possible against noise. That is, they must be the same, whichever be the strength of noise in the given range that affects the pattern. So it should be, your method should be noise resistant. The fifth technique or expectation of good shape feature technique is that it should be occlusion invariance. So even if your object is occluded, your method should be able to detect the shape of that object and so on. So when some part of the shape are occluded by the other object, the features of the remaining part must not change compared to the original shape and so on. So if your method is, okay, if you have developed the method in such a way that even it can, okay, extract the shape of occluded region, and then it does not change whether it is occluded or some partial information available or something like that. Then sixth quality of best shape feature is that it should be statistically independent. Means, see that two features must be statistically independent. Like for example, if I extract the shape feature of this object and this object, the shape feature of this object must be different than shape feature of this object. Then and then I'll be able to tell that this, okay, this is different and this is different. Otherwise, okay, shape feature of both the object is same. Like for example, see that this is both are rectangular and so on, right? But one is a remote and another one is basically spect case. So whatever the shape features we are going to extract, those features should be different in some way. So there should be statistical independence between the features of two objects. Then and then, okay, accuracy will be, classification or recognition accuracy will be high. Otherwise, there will be misclassification that this remote will be classified as a spect case, or spect case will be classified as a remote, and so on. So if your shape feature technique is such that it is statistically independent for two objects or two features, then that technique is considered as a good shape feature technique, and so on. Then the last one, the last best quality feature is that reliability. Okay, so as long as one deals with the same pattern, the extracted features remain same. Means the shape of this class should remain same. Okay, whether you take this piece or another piece, okay, shape feature should remain same. So it should be reliable. Otherwise, it should not happen like that. Okay, at 10 o'clock, shape feature of this object is something different. At 11 o'clock, it is something different. In the evenings, it is something different. Then it will be very, very difficult, to develop the system and correct system or reliable system and so on. So it should be basically for any sample of this category, shape feature should remain same, right? So it should be reliable. So as long as the one deals with the same pattern, the extracted features must remain the same. So what are the different techniques for shape representation? So there are basically three main techniques. One is a region identification, okay, identification of the region in the shape. Then second techniques are based on the contour-based shape description and representation and description. And the third one is a region-based shape representation. So this is region identification and this is region-based shape representation. Now in contour-based means what you are doing, you are just considering only the contour or perimeter of that, object, and from that you are extracting the features. So what kind of features you can extract? Like for example, there is a technique like as a chain code technique, which is used for extracting the shape features, or simple geometric border description techniques are like that. For example, when you are extracted the border of this one, so what is the boundary length of this object, what is the boundary length of this object? So definitely these two objects will be having different boundary lengths. Or what is the curvature of this shape, what is the bending energy, what is the signature, what is the chord distribution. So these are the methods which are extracted from the border of the shape and so on. So this is nothing but the boundary based or contour based shape representation. Another thing is that, okay, from the contour also you can extract the Fourier descriptor. It is called as the Fourier transforms of the boundaries, or this is also called as the Fourier descriptors. So all those techniques, chain code or this boundary length or curvature or bending energy or signature or chord distribution or Fourier descriptors, all those features are extracted from the contour or boundary of the object, right? So that's why it is called as the contour based shape representation and description. Another features or third category of the feature is region based. Like for example, you have the region of the object, so you can measure like for example how much is the area of that region, right? So from that area, okay, you can represent that shape, or you can find out the Euler number, you can find out the projection, vertical projection as well as horizontal projection, vertical and horizontal projections. Then you can find out the eccentricity, elongatedness, rectangularity, direction, and compactness. So these are the scalar features which are extracted from the region of the object. And then also from the region you can extract the moments, like there are 7 moments, M1, M2, M3, M0, right, from M0 to M7 are there. And then from the region also you can okay, at the end we will study the graph representation on region skeleton and the region decomposition, and then region neighborhood graphs techniques. For this is generally used for syntactic pattern recognition and so on, or syntactic classification and so on. So in this chapter, what we are going to study, we will study first region-based region identification technique. After that, we'll study the contour-based shape representation. In contour-based, we'll study chain codes, then simple geometric border description, like for example, boundary length, curvature, bending energy, signature, and chord distribution. After that, we will study Fourier transforms, like as a Fourier descriptor. So this will finish your contour-based technique. Then after that, at the end, we will study the region-based representation or features. So in that first we'll study the simple scalar region based, how to calculate the area of the object, how to find out the Euler number, how to find out the features by using horizontal and vertical projections, then eccentricity, elongatedness, rectangularity, direction, compactness. And then after that we will study how to find out the 7 different moments of the object, and then how to extract those features by using moments. And then finally, at the end, we will study how graph representation techniques are used on the region skeleton, and then region decomposition, how region decomposition is done, and then from that, region neighborhood graphs, how those region neighborhood graphs are constructed, so that we will study. So this is the entire, basically, this one agenda of this chapter, or basically shape representation and so on. See, in the literature, there are other techniques also nowadays available. So this is basically in, as per your syllabus, these techniques which we are going to study. But in the literature, recent literature, there are also other techniques, like for example, okay, one-dimensional function for shape representation, like as a complex coordinates you can use for shape representation. You can use centroid distance function. You can use tangent angle or contour curvature or area function or triangle area representation or chord length function. So these are nothing but the one-dimensional function for shape representation. Then polygonal approximation is another technique which is available in the literature, like as a merging method. So in that merging method, there are further 3 techniques, like as a distance threshold method or tunneling method or polygon evolution. Then splitting method is also there. Then third one is spatial interrelation features. So from spatial interrelation features, you can have a technique of feature extraction, shape feature extraction, like the adaptive grid resolution or bounding box or convex hull or chain code. In chain code also there is basic chain code or differential chain code or resampling chain code or water chain code or chain code histogram. So you can extract such kind of features from the chain code itself. Then smooth, curve decomposition, then ALI based representation, then beam angle statistic, then shape matrix. So in that square model shape matrix is there, or polar model shape matrix is there, then shape context, then chord distribution, and then shock graphs are also there. Then moments are there. So from moments also you can extract the boundary moments or region moments. So in region moments there are, like as a invariant moment techniques are available, or algebraic moments invariants are out there. Zernike moments are also available. Radial Chebyshev moments are available. Then homocentric polar radius moments are there. Orthogonal Fourier million moments are there, and pseudo Zernike moments are there. So these are the recently available techniques from region moments itself. Okay, then scale space method are also used for shape representation, like as a curvature scale space or interaction intersection point map. And then shape transform domain, like for example you can use Fourier descriptor by taking the Fourier transform, whether it is a one-dimensional Fourier descriptor or region-based Fourier descriptor. Then wavelet transform can be also used for shape representation. Angular radial transformation, shape signature, harmonic and embedding, then R transform, and then shapelet descriptor are also there. So these are the various techniques available for extracting the shape features. So out of that, we are going to study these features, okay, of shape representation. Now we'll see the simple technique of region identification. Now, how region identification is done? This is the first technique which we are going to study in today's lecture. So region identification. So here basically region is identified by using the connectivity graph. So you know that poor connectivity means if object, like for example pixel under concentration, is having the same intensity with the pixel like a neighboring pixel like this, so then we can consider that this is one region. Or for means horizontal connectivity or vertical connectivity. In case of edge connectivity, what is there? Horizontal, vertical, as well as the diagonal connectivity is there. So this horizontal is 0, then diagonal is 1, then 2, then 3, and then horizontal 4, then 5, then 6 is there, and 7 is there, and then again 0. So 8 connectivity 0 to 7. So in which way your pixel, neighboring pixel is connected, based on that one you can also find the region and so on. So this is the algorithm for region identification. So the goal is to label each pixel belonging to the distinct block by a common integer identifier. Like for example, if that region is of same having same intensity, we'll assign that as a some number, like for example first this first region, and then after that there is a gap, and then another region starts, so we'll assign that another region with second number or second nomenclature or like that. And so for that, what we are going to do, we are going to use the connectivity means poor connectivity or edge connectivity property, right? So for that, the goal is to label each pixel belonging to the distinct block by a common integer identifier like as a 1 2 3 4, first region, second region, or third region, and all other pixels populating other blocks by other integers. So like for example, there are pixels which are connected in either poor connectivity or this one edge connectivity. So in this region, so this region will be assigned as a 1 first region, then there is a gap and there is no connectivity, and then another region is there, so this will be assigned as a 2 second region, then third region is there, fourth region is there. So like that, in the entire image by raster scanning you can do that one. Okay, so here is a simple 2-pass region identification algorithm for the binary image. So what you have to do, set n is equal to 0, start with the empty label image, and an empty equivalence table. See that label of the image may be region 1, region 2, region 3, or region n, right? Then what you have to do? Traverse the binary image in a raster scan fashion. Raster scan fashion means what you have to do? You have to scan from top left to the right. Again, you have to come back, and then so like that way. So scanning will be done from top left to right bottom. So sequentially, right? Raster scanning. So traverse the binary image in a raster scan fashion. For each foreground pixel encountered, mark that pixel in the label with the label of any of its neighbor. Like for example, if it is connected, like see, starting with 1, if it is connected, this pixel is connected with neighboring pixel by core connectivity or edge connectivity, you are going to assign the second pixel also as a label 1, third pixel, like that way. Okay, so if the neighbor label disagrees, okay, see if there is an entry in the equivalence table containing any of these labels. If so, add all current neighbors label to this entry, and if not, make new entry in the equivalence table. So like for example, if it is not connected either in 4 connectivity or 8 connectivity, you have to label with the new number, like a new region. So first one is first region, then new number will be second region, after that third region, and so on. So if no neighbors is labeled, increment n and label that pixel by the value n. So n is nothing but the number of regions, right? So for each entry in the equivalence table, select one label and relabel all these pixels belonging to this equivalence class with this label. So this will be more clear if we take one problem on this one. So we'll take same problem with 4 connectivity, how this region is there, region identification is there, and also the same problem we'll see how region number of regions changes with 8 connectivity and so on. Now look at this one. Like for example, this is binary image. So there is 1 pixel, another pixel, third pixel, and so on. So see that. Okay, so this is your input image, and after that, what you are doing in the first pass. So when you are scanning from this one, now this is the only pixel here coming across. So we'll label this one with 1. Right now, this pixel is not connected with any other, because see, this pixel is not connected with any other, so we have assigned this as a 1. Right now, when you come back to this one, no pixel is labeled, so no pixel is there, so nothing is labeled. After that, okay, see that in the second this one, when you come to this third row, so you'll come across this pixel. Now this pixel is not at all related with this one. So earlier we have given the label as 1 here because it was independent. Now for this pixel we will give the label 2, right? Then after that, we'll see, okay, there's horizontal connectivity. So horizontal connectivity, this pixel is not there. So, okay, label will not be there. After that, when it comes to here, so we have to give the new label because this is not connected initially. It is not connected horizontally here because we are considering the 4 connectivity. 4 connectivity is horizontal, okay, either left or right or top or bottom. So initially we'll go with this one, left-right connectivity in the first pass, and then in the second pass we'll see the top-bottom connectivity also. See that. So in the first pass we are considering only the left-right horizontal connectivity. So this pixel is not connected horizontally, so we have marked this as a region 3, right? After that, there is no region here. There is no pixel, so number will not be there. When you come to this one, okay. So here basically, see, this is basically connected here, okay, top this one and this one. So we have given this as a 2, and then again this is connected with this one, so it is 2, then 2, and so on after that. Then see that here neighboring pixel is also there, which is having label equal to 2, so we have marked this as a 2, and so on. After that, nothing is there. When it comes to here, so you have to give the 4th number because already 3 is given here, and then 4th is connected here. Similarly, what happens basically, it comes to here, so it will be given this 5 and 5. But you know that this pixel is also connected here. So we have to again do the see the this one labels, and then we have to remark those things. See that because this pixel is connected vertically here, so this label should be replaced with this. Okay, this label should be replaced with this label. So in the second pass, final label will be like this as 2, and then these labels will remain same because okay connectivity. So what is the label here now? Final label 1, and then 2, 2, 2, all those things, and then 4, 4, 4, and then 5, 5, right? So this will be the region identification, simple technique of region identification by using the 4 connectivity. 4 connectivity means just we are considering whether this pixel is connected horizontally and vertically, right? Now, see that same problem if you consider with 8 connectivity. 8 connectivity means this horizontal, vertical, diagonal, and then this diagonal. So in total 8 connectivity will be there. Now see that how many regions are there. First region, okay, final region. This is one region, second region, this is third region, okay, but it is labeled with 4, and fifth region. So here how many distinct regions are there? 1, 2, 3, and 4 regions are there. Now by using 8 connectivity, whether these regions remain same or it will be reduced. So with 8 connectivity, see that what happens with 8 connectivity. See that here after this one, you have assigned okay all those pixels, because see that here this is connected like this way diagonally. Also these pixels are connected diagonally, so this is region, and then also it is connected, so this will be replaced with 4 and so on. So now see that this region earlier this region was 4 different region was there, but this with the 8 connectivity these pixels are connected. So whatever the this one label which is given to the earlier pixel will be replaced with this label. So this will be replaced with 4, again this will be replaced with 4, so this whole region will become 4. Okay, so see that this will become 4, and then this will become 2, and this will become 1. So how many different regions are there? Actually there are only 3 different regions. This is one region, this is another region, and this is third region. So with 8 connectivity, okay, you could basically find out the correct this one number of regions. So there are 3 regions. One is this region, another one is second region, and third one is this one. But with 4 connectivity, what happens basically with 4 connectivity, you get that there are 4 regions. So this is considered as one region, this is another region, and this third region, and this is the fourth region. But these pixels are connected diagonally. So with 8 connectivity, you will see that this is considered as the one region. So in this way, region identification is done by either 4 connectivity or 8 connectivity. Okay, and in our next lecture we will study contour-based techniques for shape representation. So thank you very much for listening me carefully. So we'll stop here.